Hi everyone, in today's video this is what we are going to be building. We're going to be connecting to a Redfin data source wherein we're going to extract data from that. Okay, in one of my previous videos I had showed you how you can extract data from Zillow Rapid API. In this case also we extracted real estate data, okay, from the Zillow Rapid API, and we put that on the landing zone and we ran some Lambda functions right there until we are able to transform the data. The transformed data was put in an S3 bucket, after which we loaded the data into Redshift cluster, AWS Redshift, and then we connected a quick size right to the Redshift for data visualization. Okay, but in today's video we are going to be extracting data from the Redfin data source, okay, and then we are going to load that data into an Amazon S3 bucket. Thereafter use Python to transform the data and then load it inside an S3 bucket, okay. But immediately that data gets into an S3 bucket, that is going to trigger Snowpipe. Snowpipe is a feature in Snowflake. I'm going to explain that better by the time we get there, okay? It's going to trigger this Snowpipe, and then this Snowpipe is going to perform the loading of data into the Snowflake database, okay? After which we are going to connect PowerBi to Snowflake for data visualizations. All these are going to be carried out on AWS Cloud, okay? And we are going to be using Airflow that is installed in Amazon EC2 instance as an orchestration tool, okay? We are going to be using that to automate the process. I hope you guys are excited for this, okay? Now let's get started, guys. So the first thing we are going to do is to go to our aws.com, okay? If you don't have an account, you can just go to aws.com. If you don't have an account with AWS, go right there and create an account, and you are going to be asked to input your credit cards or debit card details, okay? Now, in my own case, I already have that, so I have logged in. Make sure you are in the region that you want. In my case, I'm in the Oregon region, okay, US West, okay. Now, the first thing we want to do now is let us create our EC2 instance. Let us provision EC2 instance. You can see I just clicked that, and then you can just come right here and do launch instance, okay. Now we have been asked to give our instance a name, so I am going to give it this name. I'll do a copy and paste right here to save our time. So that is the name I'm giving it, Redfin and YouTube -1m EC2, and then I'm going to select an AMI, right, the Amazon machine image. I'm going to select Ubuntu, okay. I'm going to leave it at the free tier eligible, okay. And then you will come right here and select your instance type. Now this instance type right here, T2 micro, is free tier eligible, but you cannot use this for Airflow because this only has 1 GB of memory, okay. And in my case, I found out that, you know, T2 medium works better for me, okay. T2 small, you know, a lot of times I've tried it also this before about twice, but it was freezing up on me. But T2 medium works. However, in this video I will not be using T2 medium. Why is that? The reason is because I am connecting to a Redfin data source, and the data that I'm going to be downloading from here is very heavy. I think it's about 2.6 gigabytes of data, if I'm not mistaken. I think about 2.6 gigabytes or so, okay. So because of that, I would like to use a bigger EC2 instance, because previously I tried it to medium. I was having some, you know, issues. It wasn't moving. I as fast as it should. Okay, you can see T2 medium is 4 gigabytes. Okay, and then you can just we are just going to be using extra large right here, 16 gigabytes of memory. And you know, because we are going to be using pandas right here, and as you know, pandas would like to put those data in memory, right? So because of that, you don't want to use something that has a little memory. So extra large right here, 4 virtual CPU and 16 gigabyte memory. This will work fine. I've tried this. Okay, very good. Now the next thing we want to do, and again, before I move on, guys, after you complete this project, if you are not going to be using the EC2 instance anymore, I encourage you to just terminate it, or just stop it. Okay, stop it, and if needed, you can also terminate it. You don't leave any of your EC2 running. Make sure you take note of that. Otherwise, you are just going to be incurring cost. Okay. Now, the next thing is our key pair. So you need to create a key pair right here. Okay. If you don't know how to do that, it's easy. Just click that and follow what it says. But then, if you don't know how to do that, I already have a video where I showed how to do that. Okay, if you come to this video right here, how to remotely SSH or connect Visual Studio Code to AWS EC2. This is a short video, 23 minutes. I encourage you to quickly, take a look at this video so that you know how to download, how to create the new key pair. Okay, if you don't already have that, so you can click this and just do that. Watch the video to be able to do that. Okay, however, in my own case, I already have the key pair I want to use, which is this one. I'm going to select it. If you also have yours, select that. If you don't have it, again, create that. If you don't know how to create that, come right here to this video. Okay, and I will also put the link to this video in the description. Okay, very good, guys. Now the next thing we are going to do right here is select this. We want to allow HTTP traffic from the internet. We want to allow HTTP traffic from the internet, HTTPS and HTTP. Also, we want to allow SSH. Okay, now the other things are okay. We can just do launch instance. Now it's going to launch that instance for us. You can see successfully initiated launch of instance. Okay, so I can come back to these instances right here. You can see that this is the one we just launched right now. You can see it says it's pending. Shortly it's going to change to running. Shortly, you can see now it has changed to running. Okay, now this is in running state, so I can, if you want, just refresh. Let's see something. When you refresh, you can see status check. It says initializing, but it is running right now. So I can check this, and then I can come to connect. If I click connect, make sure you are in this tab, EC2 instance connect. Let us open a terminal for this. So I'll say connect. And what we want to start doing now is we want to start installing dependencies. Okay, I can close this one right here. Okay, we want to start installing what? Dependencies. So I'm going to be doing some copy and pasting right here. So sudo apt updates. For some of you that have been watching our videos, you already know some of those things that we're going to be doing. So let me see if I can zoom. Let's see. Okay, I think this works. So I'll say enter. So now that is going to take some few seconds to install that, because remember, this is a fresh EC2 that you just provisioned, so you need to install the different dependencies that you need. Okay, so that is done. I will say sudo apt install python 3-pip. We want to install pip, which is the Python package manager. I will say enter, and then I will say yes. Okay, That's going to take some few seconds. Let's hold on, guys. Let's make sure everything works fine. Okay, so now that we have this, just click escape on your keyboard. Escape. Okay, that works very good. One thing I also want us to just quickly look at right here is, let's check what's the version of our Python right here. Let's just say Python dash version. Let's see. Okay, it says, it gives us an error. I think it wants us to put Python 3 dash version. You can see right here, Python 3.10.2. Okay, very good. So let us also install virtual environment right here, because we are going to be creating virtual environments. Okay, so let us do a sudo apt install Python 3.10-venv. Okay, so we are creating virtual environment. I will say okay, and then I will say yes. That is going to complete the installation. When you have this, you can just press escape on your keyboard. Okay, now that we have installed the virtual environment, the next thing is for us to then create a virtual environment, okay, in our EC2. Remember, we first of all installed it, but now we want to create a virtual environment where we can install our pandas, okay, and any other thing that is needed to be installed. Okay, so now I have Python 3-m venv, and then we are giving our virtual environment this name, Redfin _venv. So I will say enter. Okay, now that is done. Okay, that took few seconds. Now the next thing you want to do is now activate that environment. Okay, I'm going to activate the source Redfin _venv, because this is our virtual environment that we just created. So I have source virtual environment /bin /activate. I will activate. You can see right here, guys, now that we are inside our virtual environment now. Okay, so now we are going to need pandas for this project. When we want to do our transformation, let us just install it right now. Okay, so because we're inside the virtual environment, so I'll do a pip install pandas. I will install that. That is going to take few seconds. Okay, it's going to take some. Okay, that is done. Very good, very good. One thing we also like to install is Boto 3, because we are going to also use Boto 3 in this project. Okay, so I will say pip install Boto 3. Okay, that is working. Okay, that is done. And then we are also going to need AWS CLI right here. You will see by the time we are using all these different things that we are installing, you would appreciate why we are installing it at first right here. Okay, although sometimes in real life, sometimes you may not know what you need sometimes until you get there. However, and that is why it's also good, get your requirements and have a plan of what you are trying to build. But like I said, sometimes you still don't know some things that you might need. Okay, and that's why as we have our virtual environment right here, as you know some of the things that you want to install, you can then just do a pip installation right there. So I will install the AWS CLI because we are going to need that. Very good, that is done right now. Now the next thing I would like us to do is to install Apache Airflow. You can see, guys, that right here what we are still doing, we have not started coding, but we are installing dependencies. We are installing the things that are needed for us to be able to actualize this project. Okay, so we are going to do pip install Apache-Airflow. I will press enter. That's going to take few seconds to install. Let's wait for it to install. Okay, let's wait for it. Just wait for it. It's gonna take a few seconds. Okay, I think it's almost done. I'm trying to show you guys all this so that we can all see what's going on during installation. Since this is it's not taking a lot of time, so that's why I'm showing it. Okay, now Airflow has been installed. Very good, guys. Now let's see if we can even check the version of our Airflow. Let's do Airflow version. Let's see what it gives us. Very good. You can see 2.7.1. that is the version that we have installed. Okay, now the next thing also we are going to be needing as part of this project is the access key and the secret key of our EC2, okay, or basically of our AWS. Okay, so if I come back right here, because we would like to give some access to our Airflow, right, to be able to access the EC2, and even by the time we get to Snowflake, remember that we are going to be using Snowflake, right? We want to be able to give Snowflake access, right, to our AWS. So we want to be able to get the secret key and the access key. Okay, so what you just need to do, guys, is that just come right here to your profile and then come to security credentials. I will click that and then that should load. So just scroll down. Remember, I'm using a root user right here. Okay, so that's fine. But in one of my other videos, I had already showed you how it's been done in the industry, where you don't use the root user for things like this, but rather you create user groups, right? From there, you then create users and then you assign those users to specific groups that you want, and then you give them specific permission. You give that group permissions, and you will see that in this video where I explained the where we extracted data from the Zillow Rapid API. We did that right there. So if you want to learn that, go right there. Okay, very good, guys, very good. But in the case of this one, we are using a root user, which is also fine right here for the sake of this video. So I will just come right here, come to access keys, do create access key, and then check this box. I understand creating a root access key is not a best practice, like I just mentioned, but I still want to create one. Okay, but for the sake of this video, we are doing this, right? But I've showed you another video where I did not use that, but rather I used user groups and users, and I assigned permissions to them. Okay, you can also explore that if you have not watched that video. Okay, so now I'll say create access key. Now it has created it. Take note that don't close this page. You are going to be needing the access key and the secret access key, or better still, even if you want to close this page, download the CSV file. When you download this CSV file is going to contain your access key and your secret access key. Okay, so in my case, I will download it so that if I mistakenly close this screen, I can still go back to my CSV file and get the access key and the secret access key. Okay, now very good, guys. So now we will come right here now, and then we are going to configure our AWS with those secret key and the access key. So I will say AWS configure. If I say enter, now you see it is asking me for my access key. Okay, so I will come right back here and I will click this to copy. Okay, and then I will come right here, paste it, press enter, then go and get your secret access key, and then I will right click, paste, press enter, and then it's asking me my default region name. As you know, in my case is Oregon, which is US-West-2. Okay, so you just have to use whichever one you are using. Just look for the one you are using, then you can put the region, the default region name. So I'll say US-West -2. Okay, you can see that right there. Enter. Then what is the default output format? I will just leave it blank. I'll just press enter, and then you can see right here I've already created configured my AWS by doing all of this. Okay, now the next thing I would like to then do is that let us now initialize our Airflow. For me to initialize my Airflow, I will say Airflow standalone. I will press enter. Let us see what happens. You can see that Airflow is initializing right now. Okay, it's creating permissions and all of that. However, what we can also do before we go to the UI is that we need the IPv4. So I will open my because I don't want to close this page. I will open my EC2 again in another tab. You can come right here, or you can come right here to search EC2. Okay, and then I'll open in a new tab. I'll close this. I don't want to close this page. I'll come right here. Make sure you are in the let me zoom this. Make sure you are in the region that you want. You can see when I went to another EC2, it gave me North Virginia, but that's not what I wanted. So I'll go back to West. You can see now that I'm here, you can see I have one instance running. I have 3 instances altogether, but one is running, right? This is the one running. This one's are stopped. So I can just check this. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, very good. Then I'll just come right here, and then I would. But before that, let me show you what is happening right here. You can see that we have been able to initialize Airflow. Airflow is ready. It gave me a login username, which is admin, and it gave me a password, which is this. Okay, so we are going to need the username and the password. Okay, but before that, let us copy this public IPv4 and then paste it right here, and then put 880, you put column, and then 880 8080. This 8080 is the port that Airflow is going to be running. Okay, if I click enter, something is going to happen right here, guys. It's not going to load. Why? Because we have not opened this port, this 880 port, 8080 port. We have not opened it, so we need to go back and open it. Okay, now for us to open it, just come to security. Remember that you have your EC2 already checked, right? Then come to security, come to security groups, click that. Okay, and then come down in inbound rules, come to edit inbound rules, and then let us add a rule. Okay, so we can say custom TCP, we can say 8080. Okay, and then we can say anywhere IPv4. If you like, you can use your IP. Okay, in my case I will use anywhere IPv4. Okay, and then I will say save rules. So now we have created that port. If I come back to this place, you can see that now, because we have opened the ports, now we can access the Airflow UI. Okay, very good, guys. I hope you guys are getting this. Okay, now remember that we just said that our username is admin. So I will say admin, and then let's go and grab the password. So come back right there. All these things we are saying, those are due to all the gets, or as we are logging to the UI. So we are saying all the the things we are doing on the Airflow UI. That is what you are seeing, all these get commands and all of that. Okay, so now this password, I will right click this and copy. Okay, I highlighted, right click and copy, and then I'll paste right here, and then I will sign in for us to have access to the UI. Very good, guys. Now you can see, guys, that we have been able to get to our UI. If you have this, congratulations, guys, congratulations. And as you can see right here, guys, that we have 48 DAGs by default when we installed the Apache Airflow, right? You can see this is 48 DAGs that we can see on our UI. So that means that if you are watching this project, this video, say in 2 weeks time, or in 3 weeks time, or in 1 year time, or whatever, it's possible that your number of default DAGs that are here will be different from 48. If you see that, don't be alarmed. It's not a problem. Okay, that means that Apache Airflow folks are, working. They are doing different things. They are, it depends on whatever number of DAGs they want to add for us as default. Okay, but just note that as of today that I'm making this video, these are 48 DAGs right here, which we don't need because we are going to be creating our own DAG. Okay, so by the time we create our own DAG, we should be able to see this number go to 49. Okay, I hope you guys are getting this. Very good, guys. Very good, guys. Congratulations if you are able to get this. Okay, now the next thing we would like to then do now is to now connect our Visual Studio Code to our EC2 for us to start doing some development, for us to start coding. Because in reality, as you know, it's not easy for you to be using this terminal to be coding, right? So you need an IDE to code, right? And in this case, for me, I like to use Visual Studio Code. Okay, if you don't know how to do that, I already have a video where I showed you how to do that. How to remotely SSH or connect Visual Studio Code to AWS EC2. Again, remember I told you this video, I showed you how you can create key pair, right? Also, in this video, you can learn how to connect your Visual Studio Code to your AWS EC2 so that you can start developing your code. You can start developing your project. Okay, but in my own case, I already have it. Okay, so since I already have it, what I am going to do is that I am going to bring mine up. I'm going to connect my own Visual Studio Code. So now I have my Visual Studio Code connected to my EC2. As you can see right now, I'm inside the EC2 right now. You can see the AWS that we configured. You remember we configured it, config credentials. Okay, and also we installed Airflow. You can see we installed Airflow. Okay, very good, guys, very good. Now what we'll start doing now is we need to start creating our DAG. We need to create our DAG now and then start developing. Okay, but before we create our DAG, let me show you something right here, guys. So your DAG needs to reside in a particular folder that you have to put the absolute path right here. So what I'm saying basically is wherever your DAG is going to reside, just come right here and put the path, the absolute path of your DAG right here. You can see DAGs folder, because this is where Airflow is going to look at to know that, oh, this .py file inside this folder is the DAG. Okay, you can see it says the folder where your Airflow pipelines live, mostly likely a subfolder in a code repository. This path must be absolute. Okay, so in our own case, we will leave it like this: home Ubuntu Airflow DAGs. So you can see we are in home Ubuntu right here, and then we have Airflow right here. So I will right click Airflow. So I will right click Airflow, and then I'll create a new folder which I will call DAGs. Okay, which I will call DAGs. So inside this DAGs folder, I will then create my DAG, and my DAG is going to be a .py file. Okay, a .py file. So I will right click this now, and then I'll say new file, and this is the name I'm going to give it: Redfin _analytics _py. Okay, I will press enter, Let me close this. Now you can see we have it right here. Okay, so now what we want to start doing right now is we need to start creating our task. Okay, now if you come back to our PowerPoint, the first thing we would like to do is we would like to connect to our Redfin data, right? Our Redfin data source. So let me take you to where the data source is. Okay, now if you come to this link, I will provide this link for you in the description below. Okay, so now on this link, if you go over it, you can see that Redfin has a lot of housing or real estate visualization right here. However, Redfin realized that some folks would like to have the raw data and do whatever transformation and visualization they want, right? Because of that, so Redfin has given us access to be able to download the data, okay, the raw data. Okay, so you can see that it says download region data here. National, if you like, you can do it at a national level. If you like, you can do it at a metro level, state level, county level, city level, zip code, or neighborhood level. In our case today, we are going to be doing city level. Okay, and you can see what it says, right? It says new data will be released monthly, typically during the 3rd full week of the month. Okay, and also Redfin said something right here. You are welcome to use this data for your own purposes. We just ask that you cite the source. Okay, so a way for you to cite it is just, you can say, according to Redfin, a national real estate brokerage, blah blah blah, or you can say data provided by Redfin, a national real estate brokerage. Okay, or you can put it in your own words as well. Okay, so basically, if you want to use it in any app, you should just cite the source. Okay, now what we are then going to do right here is that any of these region data you want, just right click. In this case, I want city. If I right click city, I can say copy link address. If I copy this link address, let me show you how it's going to look like. If I copied, you see, I copied it and I pasted it right here. You can see how it looks like. This is how the data looks. Okay, you can see that, the link rather. So this is the link that we want to download the data from. You can see city market tracker. If you want to do, I'll close this, or well, I'll leave it open because I'll still need it. Okay, so but if you want to do by state level or zip code, neighborhood, just right click and do that, like I said. Okay, now that we have that, what are we going to, now that we know where we're going to get the data, let us start building our DAG, guys. Okay, the first thing we would like to do right here is that we are going to import DAG from Airflow, and this is what will let also Airflow know that this .py file is also our DAG. Okay, we are importing DAG. You're going to see how what we're going to do with that shortly. Then from date time, we want to import time delta, and we also want to import date time. Okay, now the next thing we would like to do is that we would like to specify our default argument, which we are going to be using. So let me come right here, and then I will say default args. Okay, the owner. Okay, who is the owner of this project? You can put your team name right there. So in this case, I will put Airflow, but you can put your team name. Depends on past, I will say false. What is the start date? I will use this date time, and I will say 2023 10/2, right, October 2nd. Email, you can put your email right here. Email on failure, I put false. Email on retry, I put false. Okay, I have another video where I had already also explained, I have already showed you what happens if you put true right here. Basically, if you want Airflow to email you whenever your DAG fails or whenever your DAG is retrying, You want Airflow to send an email to this email address that you put right here, which means this email address should be someone in your team, or you yourself, or maybe your email distribution in your team, right? So I have another video which I have showed you guys that. Let me show you right here. You can see this one says monitor workflow with Slack alert upon DAG failure. Okay, you can send Slack alert when your DAG fails. I have another one that says how to send email alert on retry and on failure in Apache Airflow. So what that means is that whenever it fails, you can, send an alert, or whenever it's retrying, your DAG is retrying, you can send an alert, an email alert, or if you want, if your DAG fails, you can send a Slack alert. Maybe your team uses Slack, then you can do that. Okay, very good, guys. So I have a bunch of videos right there that's gonna, benefit you. Okay, now the next thing I would like to do right here is that then we can then instantiate our DAG, right? This DAG I will imported. So I will say with DAG, then I'll put a DAG ID. You have to give it a DAG ID. That is, you have to give your DAG a name, because if you remember what we add right here on this UI, you can see that all these right here, you can see different DAGs right there. Okay, you can see all these. Okay, so you need to give your DAG a name. Okay, you need to give your DAG a name. So that's why we are giving it this name, Redfin Analytics DAG. Okay, so now we are saying we want to pass this default args right here into this argument, right? Default args. Okay, so that Airflow knows what all the information that we have put right here. Okay, schedule interval, if you like, you can say you want to be running this weekly or daily or monthly. Okay, but because we know that Redfin already told us that they typically release new data once in a month, it says monthly, during the third full week of the month. So you can probably just put this to be at weekly, or you can say at monthly. You understand? So but at weekly might be a good one, depending on your requirements though. Okay, so now catch up, I say equals to false, then I'll say as DAG. But take note right here, I commented this out because technically for this video, since I'm just showing in this video, I'm not going to be uncommenting it. But if you want to uncomment it in your case, you can just uncomment it and leave it. But in this case, because I'm going to be triggering the Airflow manually to show you guys. Okay, but let's assume in the real setting, when you are developing your project, you are going to be running this by triggering it manually first, and then if by the time everything looks good and everything is okay, then you can then schedule it. You can set the schedule interval. Okay, very good, guys, very good. Now the next thing I would like to then show you right now, guys, is this. What we want to do right now is let us first of all put the URL. Remember that we add the URL for that Redfin that we just copied right now. Okay, the URL link from this Redfin website. Remember, I just showed you this is the URL. So I say URL by city because in this video we are looking at city. Okay, now the first task we want to do is we want to extract, as you can see, extraction. We want to extract the data from Redfin data source to our bucket right here. Okay, but before that, I want to extract it inside this EC2 first. Okay, so let us create a task that will do that for us. Let me copy and paste this, and then I will explain. Come right here. Remember that you need to make sure that everything is well indented. Okay, so I'm going to be using a Python operator right here. Okay, for those of you that don't know what a Python operator is, if you come to this video right here, how to build and automate a Python ETL pipeline with Airflow. If you come to this, I already explained what operators are. Okay, very good. So right now I'm going to be using this Python operator, and then I need to import the Python operator. If I import this, now I have the Python operator. Okay, if you also even come right here to this link, this is the Python operator. It has Python callable. This Python callable is the function, the Python function you want to call. Okay, and there is something that is called OP keyword args. Okay, what is that OP keyword args? It says a dictionary of keyword argument that will get unpacked in your function. I've also used this also in one or two of my Airflow videos, so you can also check that out. But I'm going to be showing you how we're going to be using this in this video. We're going to be using that functionality. Okay, so now I have my Python operator, which I'm giving it this variable name, extract Redfin data. So you need to give it a task ID. Okay, so I'm using this same name, but I'm just putting TSK underscore in front. Okay, now Python callable, you need to put the name of the function you want this operator to run. So this is the name of the function, extract underscore data. I'm going to show you the function shortly. Then this OP keyword args that I just showed. So I'm saying that URL, I'm putting a dictionary, that the key is URL, then the value is this string right here. This string right, remember this string is this variable, so I put this variable right here so that eventually we can unpack it and extract data from this right here. Okay, now let me bring out the function that we are going to be running with that operator. Okay, so now what we are doing right here is that this is the function extract data, and then you put right here keyword args. Okay, and then you can unpack that. You can get the value of this URL. As you know, the value is this variable, and this variable is this string right here. So keyword args URL, you get the URL. So this is the URL, and then we can use pandas. Remember, we installed pandas previously. So what that means now is that we need to import pandas. So I'm importing pandas as PD. Okay, so I say pd.read_csv. I put the URL. Remember this URL we are getting here, compression gzip. Okay, this is due to the nature of this link right here, as you can see, .gz. Okay, then separator /t, right, tab delimited. Okay, now I also want my file name, as I download those data, I want the file name to carry the dates and the time when this ran. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, date time dot now. I'm giving this variable. Okay, and right here I'm converting it to a string. I'm formatting it to a string. So I'm getting the day, the month, the year, the hour, the minute, and the second. Okay, now what is the file string name? Eventually it's going to, I'm giving it Redfin underscore data underscore this date now string. This date now string is this one right here. That is the time, the date time, the current date time when we put the data. Okay, so that is what the file is going to be named, right? And then I'm passing that inside this right here. I'm using string formatting right here, .csv. So I'm converting it to CSV, right? And then that is going to be saved inside our EC2. I hope you guys are getting this right here. Okay, yeah, but I'm sure that you guys should understand this. If you are watching Airflow right now, I'm sure you probably understand Python already. Okay, so what I'm doing right here is that I am now saying that, okay, the output file path is going to be home Ubuntu, the file name, you remember this file name .csv. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to grab the data, the file eventually from here to put it in S3 bucket. And also this file name, I'm also putting it right here. So I'm putting all this into a string, into a list rather, because I want to be able to access them later. As you know, in a list, I can access this first one as index 0, I can access this second one at index 1, okay? And that is why I'm returning this output list, because I can grab them later, okay? I hope you understand that right now. I want us to build all these DAGs before we run this pipeline, okay? Now, very good, guys. So this is going to basically run, and then it's going to save inside this EC2, okay? Now, the next thing we want to do is then we want to transform our data, okay? So we need to then create another task, which we are going to be calling transform Redfin data. So I'll come right here, make sure that everything is well indented. So I will call it transform Redfin data, and this is, we are also using Python operator right here. So I'm giving it a task ID. I'm calling this function Python underscore data, okay? Now I'm going to copy and paste the function I'm using for the transformation, and then I will explain what is going on, guys, so that we don't take too much time, you know, writing all of this. And then I will come right here, and then I will copy this also S3 clients. Don't worry, I will show you all that is going on right now. We are going to need Boto3. Let us import Boto3, okay? So now, guys, let me show you all that is going on right here, okay? What is happening is this. In the first task, we said we are extracting the data, okay? Let me go to a Jupyter notebook so that I will show you, because the data is heavy, so I don't want to be running it several times within this Visual Studio Code and this pipeline, okay? So but I have it on Jupyter notebook where I can explain what's going on for you guys, okay? So if I come back right to my Jupyter notebook right here, see what is going on, guys. I'm importing my data, I'm importing pandas, okay? And we know already that this is the link, right? Now, my first task is extraction. It is extracting the data, right, from the Redfin data center. So if I pass the URL right here, and I'm doing pd.read_csv, I'm returning the data frame. You can see that if I run this function, this is how the data looks like, okay? I don't want to be running Visual Studio Code so we don't take time, but I've already run it in Jupyter Notebook so that you have an idea of how the data looks like. You can see period beginning, period end, period duration, region type. You can see all these different things: region, city, state, state code. I encourage you to also explore it also with your Jupyter Notebook, okay? So I have this median sale and all of that. You see, I will see if it's possible for me to put this on GitHub, this Jupyter notebook, so you guys can also have access to this, okay? Now you can see median list, price per square footage, all these different things, okay? You can see all this information right there. Last updated, you can see the last time it was updated was September 24th. You can see 2023. And then what is the number of rows of this data? You can see right here that is about 4.9 million. You can see that it's heavy, okay? It's heavy, 4.9 million rows. That's almost 5 million rows right there. You can see, and the number of columns, we have 58 columns right there. You can see that. So this is what we are saving as CSV in our first task, okay? So now in the second task, what we want to do is this. We want to do some transformation. So let me show you the transformation we are trying to do, guys. What we are trying to do right here in this transformation is that we are also getting the data, you know, basically we are getting the data from the first task, okay, but this is what I wanted to show you. I think that one I can explain that one to you with this Visual Studio Code, and then we'll go back to the Jupyter notebook to check the data again, to check how it looks. Okay, so now what is happening in this second task, like I said, is going to be doing transformation. We are using Python operator, and this is the function name, transform underscore data. So let us come right here. Transform underscore data can take a task instance. In my previous video, I've explained what task instance is for you guys. Okay, so Airflow provides us with a task instance that, you know, that can help us to get some information about any of the instances. Take, for example, the previous instance. I can get some information about what it was, what the previous task returned. Okay, see what we are going to do right here. We are passing task instance, and then I will say task instance dot xcom underscore pool. Okay, then you put the task ID of what you want to pull, what that task returned. Okay, in the previous task, whatever it returned, you want to pull the data. And as you know that this is the function for our previous task, right? It's going to return what? It's going to return this list. You can see it's going to return this list, right? Now I can then access this output file path. Remember, this is the output file path, this .csv. So I can access it at index 0. And that's why I call it the data, because the data is going to be here, the CSV. So I can grab it and then I can call it data. Then object key is going to be the file name, not the full file path this time around, but just the file name, which is this one right here, this file string. You can see that it is on index 1. So I put index 1 right here. So what this task instance is helping us to do is to pull the return of whatever task we are interested in. But in this case, we are interested in that previous task, which is this one, this extraction, right? Which is this. So we are accessing this first information as index 0, this second information as index 1. So I'm putting it object key because we are going to use that later. Okay, now what am I doing right now? I'm now doing pandas.read underscore csv, the data, because now we have the data inside, you know, we have it inside our EC2, and we already got the path. The path is going to, because it's going to give to us the string, right? So that means we are passing the string inside here as data. So now this pandas.read underscore csv can grab that data. Okay, now while I was also playing with this data, remember I don't want to, you know, delve into doing a lot of analysis right here. So I've done that previously for you guys. But however, if you want to go, you know, it depends on your requirements, right? If you want to do more things in the transformation, go ahead and do that. But for me, I just did the basics so that I can just explain this pipeline, because ultimately what I actually want to show you guys is how to use Snowpipe to automatically load data inside Snowflake. Okay, so I don't want to spend time on the transformation. Okay, so now what I can do right here is that when I was working on this, I found out that there are some city inside the city column that has a comma. Okay, so I wanted to replace those comma with nothing. Okay, that's what I'm doing right here. And then as I showed you right here, as I showed you guys right here, that we had 58 columns coming from the data, right? But I don't want to deal with all of that, so I want to just have specific columns. So I called specific columns out. So I'm using that I'm passing that to my data frame back, so I can only have these columns. Then I'm also dropping NA. Okay, and one thing also is that, let me show you something. One thing also is that this period begin and period end, I want to convert it to a date time object so that I can grab year, month, or whatever that I want to grab. Okay, and that is why and that is why I put this right. You can see pd.to_datetime. So I'm converting this to a datetime object, and then I'm extracting the year and also the month right here. Okay, take note, like I said, it depends on what you are trying to do. Okay, now also another thing also is that if you look at this, if I extract the month, you can see that the month is just going to be a number 06, but 06 is June, right? But in my case, I want to do some mapping right here. I want to map it that if it says 1, it should be January, 2 should be February. Okay, so I did some mapping right here, and then I put that into the diagram. I say df.replace month dictionary. Okay, so it's going to do that for me. And then I want to check the number of rows and the columns that I have right now. Putting this right here, I'm going to be seeing the result of this print in the logs. We are going to check the Airflow logs. Okay, now what am I doing right here now? I am now converting this data frame. Now this data frame that we got here, I am now converting it to CSV. Okay, because remember, we want to take it, we want to load it into our S3 bucket. Okay, we want to have into our S3 bucket, so I'll convert it to CSV, and then here I'm uploading the CSV into my S3 bucket. Okay, now we have not created the S3 bucket yet, right? But we are going to do that shortly. Okay, take note, this is the transformed data that we are working on right now. Okay, so now remember that we had gotten the object key from here. Remember, we got the object key from here. The object key, we said it is this file string. And what is this file string? This file string is a concatenation of Redfin_data_ the time, the date time at which we ran this that we pulled the data, basically, right? You can see I already explained that right here. Okay, so what I just did is to put .csv right in front and then come to this line. But what is happening right here is that we want to use S3 client to then put that file that we just downloaded right here into CSV as CSV. Remember that we just converted this to CSV. This is CSV data. We want to put it inside our S3 bucket. Okay, so we are going to give our S3 bucket a name. Okay, so now let us go and create that S3 bucket first before we proceed. Okay, so let us come back right here, and then you can just come right here and search for S3. So I'll right click, I'll open this, and then I'll create a bucket, and then I'll give my bucket a name. Remember, your bucket needs to be unique globally. Okay, remember to put the region that you want. You want your EC2 and your S3 bucket to be in the same region, mostly better that way. Okay, so leave everything the way they are. Okay, and then just say create bucket. Okay, now very good. Now you can see that we have created the bucket right here. You can see there is nothing inside. Okay, so now what I am going to do right here is that I am going to bring my bucket name right here. So this is my S3 bucket, target bucket name. This is it right here, Redfin-transform-zone-yml. Okay, so now, and that is what we have put right here in this bucket. Okay, now what is this S3 client? Okay, remember that we had installed and also imported Boto3. So this Boto3, with this Boto3, we can say Boto3.client, then put S3. What that means that this will help us to be able to programmatically interact with our S3 bucket. Okay, assuming it is glue. In another video that I made, we use Boto3 for glue. Okay, so with this Boto3, you can use Python to be able to interact with your S3 bucket. So when you say Boto3 clients, put S3, then you can give this any variable name that you want. In my case, I give it S3 underscore client. Okay, so now if you come down, as part of the methods that comes with this Boto3 S3, so you know we said S3 client, so as part of the methods we have access to a put underscore object. So this will help us to put that object, which is the CSV, inside the S3 bucket that we are interested in. So we'll say bucket equals to target. Remember, we have our target name which we just created, comma, then key. The key is the file name. So what is the file? What is the name you want to give the file that is going to reside in the S3 bucket? This is the name we want to give it, okay? Because we want it, we use this object key that we got right here, because we want it to also have that name that we have right here, Redfin underscore data underscore the time, the date time. Okay, I'm sure you guys understand this now. And then what is the body of the data? The body of the data is this CSV here that you just created inside this CSV underscore data. So if you do this, we should be able to transform the data and then have it saved inside this S3 bucket. Okay, now let me quickly show you in my Jupyter notebook how the data looks like after you do all these different things, all this transformation. I also did that right here in this Jupyter notebook, and then I printed out the number of rows. Remember, we removed NA, so that means at the end of the day we have 3.9 million rows after we removed NA, did our transformation. Then now the number of columns that we have is 28. Previously we had 58, right? We removed a bunch. Now we have 28. And if you remember, that period begin that we converted to a date time object, and we extracted the year and the date. You can see this is that which we have right here. Period begin in years, period end in years, period begin in months, period end in month. All those we already showed you in our code. Okay, now you have an idea of how the data looks. Okay, so now we have been able to extract the data and then transform the data. Okay, now the transformation is going to save the data inside this Redfin transform zone YML. Okay, now what about the raw data? I still want to have the raw data in an S3 bucket. Okay, now for me to do that, what I will do is that I will have another task. I want it to do that for me. Okay, remember that during this extraction step, we actually saved the data inside our EC2, right? So now we want to move it from the EC2 inside an S3 bucket right now. So let us go ahead and create another S3 bucket. Let us give it this name. So I'll come right here and I will say create buckets. I'll give it this name. Okay, store dash raw dash data dash YML. Take note, you have to give yours a different name. Okay, you can maybe use this place as your own initial. Okay, because it has to be unique globally. Okay, so now make sure you are in the region that you want, and then you can leave every other thing the way they are, and then just say create buckets. Very good. You can see we have the bucket right now. Store raw data. We don't have anything inside. Okay, now let us go back to our script right here that we are developing. So what we want to do right here, we want to use the bash operator. Okay, in my previous videos I've showed you how to use this. Okay, so I will say I will copy and paste right here. I'm importing bash operator. So from airflow.operators.bash operator, import bash operator. Okay, so you will give that task a name. I'm giving it this name. So I want to load to S3. Remember, we have extracted. When we extracted the Redfin data, we extracted it as a CSV inside our EC2 right? Then we grabbed that inside our EC2 and then we transformed and then saved the data inside our S3 bucket. That is what this is going to do. This, we have not run it yet, I know, but I'm just telling you that this is what this is going to be doing, right? And then after we transformed and load it into our transform S3 bucket, then this third task will now grab that data that is inside our EC2 right here. It will now grab it and then load it inside our raw data S3 bucket. So what are we going to do? We are going to be using a bash command, and remember that we had already installed AWS CLI, right? And that is why we are also using this AWS command, AWS S3 move, right? MV move. And then we are using a Ginger template right here. Airflow allows that. So we are doing ti.xcom_pool. Remember the way we used ti, that's task instance .xcom pool. The way we did it right here, that's pretty much what is also going on right here. Ti is task instance .xcom_pool. Okay, so now if you do that, then you can name which task are you talking about. This task, okay, put the task ID, which is this one. Now this task right here is returning something. What is it returning? If you come back right here, is returning an output list, right? Is returning an output list, and this first one is the absolute path of the data we saved right here. So that is what we need. Therefore we'll say index 0, okay? And that is why we are saying index 0 right here. I hope you guys are getting that now. Okay, so now if we're able to get the path right here, so what happens is that this bash command, we go and move that file from that path and then put it inside this S3 bucket which we just created. Okay, I hope you guys are getting this right now. Okay, all this code that we have right here, I'm going to be putting them in the in my GitHub, okay? And also this Jupyter notebook that I showed right here, I will also put it in my GitHub, okay, so that you guys can have access to it in case you need it, okay? And all the commands that we have run, I will put them in a text file and then put them inside my GitHub as well, okay? And any necessary thing that I also need to give you, and also even the videos that I mentioned right here, the links, I'll put them right there, and also the Airflow link, I'll put them in the description, and also put the Redfin data center link. Okay, so guys, before we move on, if you are really finding our videos valuable, please guys, subscribe right now. Subscribe right now, because we still have more things to teach you guys. Okay, as you know, we have been using AWS. Very soon we are going to start looking at how we use Azure Cloud to also get more all these projects done. Okay, stay tuned for that, guys. Okay, so subscribe right now. Tell your friends to subscribe, tell your teammates to subscribe, tell your brothers and your sisters, okay, to subscribe to our channel, and make sure you click on that bell so that you can be notified whenever we release any of our videos. Also, don't forget to comment in the comment section, and also ask your questions. If you have any question, ask your questions, or if there's any video that you also want us to make for you, you know, anything you want us to teach you, you know, feel free also to put that in the comment section. Okay, and also do not forget to like our video. That is very important, because as you know, that will also help us with the YouTube algorithms. Okay, like our video and then share it with friends, share with families, share it with colleagues, so that they know, so that they also can benefit from what we are teaching you. Okay, very good, guys. Now that we have put all this together right now, we have all our 3 tasks where we are extracting, right? We are then transforming. As we transform, we load it inside our S3 bucket, our transform S3 bucket, and then the raw data, we take that into our raw data S3 bucket. Okay, so now what we can then do is that let us put our dependencies right there. Okay, I can then come right here and put our dependencies. Please take note, everything needs to be well indented. Okay, so I put this first task, basically this variable name, and then put 2 greater than sign, put the second one, and then put it. So that means this is going to run, then this, then this. Okay, very good, guys. I hope you guys understand this. Okay, so now if you look at it, we have been able to use Python to connect to this. We are going to load the raw data into this S3 bucket raw data. We will also transform the data, okay, and based on what we are doing, in your case, you can do more than the transformation we are doing right here, okay, and then we will then transform and then load it inside this transformed data bucket. Okay, very good, guys. I hope you guys are getting this right now. Very good. Now the next thing is that you realize that we have not saved this DAG at all, right? Because if you take a look at what we have right here, if I refresh this, we still have 48 DAGs right there. Okay, so now I need to come to my DAG right here. I need to save, Control S. Now I have saved. So now that I have saved, it's going to take some few minutes, about 3 to 5 minutes or so, before we can be able to see the DAG right here. Okay, so I don't want to bore you guys by you waiting 3 to 5 minutes. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to pause this video and then wait 3 to 5 minutes. I'll keep refreshing, and then we should be able to see the DAG right here. If we get an error, we are going to take a look at what the error is. We are going to debug it, and then we'll move forward from there. All right, guys, I'll see you later. So now you can see that we have 49 DAGs right now. Previously we had 48, right? So that means our DAG now has propagated through. This is Redfin Analytics DAG. Let us click that. Okay, and now we can come to graph. Okay, now you can see what we are right now, guys. You can see the task, the different tasks. Okay, you can see that this is where we are extracting the data, we are transforming, and then during this transformation we are also going to load the transformed data into our transformed data S3 bucket, and then we'll finally load the raw data inside our raw data S3 bucket. Okay, but before we trigger this, let us go back to our code right here, and let us come to this start date. I would like this to show my current date that I'm making this video right now. So I will say 2023-10-4. Okay, and then I will save this. Okay, now this is saved. I will refresh this. Let me make sure that the code right here has passed through. Okay, let me check right here. Okay, I have this right here. Okay, let's give it some few seconds. Let me refresh. Okay, what I did right now is I refreshed so that this next run can show 10:04, 2023-10:04, because previously it was showing 2023-10:03. Okay, but after I updated this to 2023-10:04 and then refreshed and waited for a few seconds, then it changed to 2023-10:04. Okay, refresh one more time. I know everything looks good right now, and this is my DAG, right? So what I can do right now is to trigger. Okay, so and again, guys, as you know, when you trigger, we are extracting transformation and then doing loading right there. Okay, let's trigger. Now I just triggered. Come back to my graph. Now, very good. You can see that it has started running. If I click on this, then you can see that it is running right now. And again, guys, the reason I changed this to the date at which I'm running this for the first time to that same date right now is that if it were to be, if I had put maybe 2023 10 second, October 2nd, I would have probably gotten 2 DAGs here that is going to start running immediately, but I don't want that. I want only one, and that is why I put this date right here to be the exact date that I'm running this right now for the first time. Okay, you can also do that as well. Okay, remember we are also still in development phase. We are not taking it to production yet. Okay, and this extract step is going to take, I think, about 5 minutes to run. This second step is going to take about 2 minutes to run, and this last step might take about 20 seconds or so. So because of that, I will pause this video and then we'll come back to when it finished running. Okay, and then we can continue with our explanation. However, as you are running this DAG right here, you should expect to see a CSV file. Now you can see that this is right here right now. Although while I have this CSV file right here, you can see Redfin _data_ then the date time.csv. You can see that this is still running. Even though you have this CSV now in your folder, it has not populated all the data yet. Okay, and that is why you see that it still shows that it is running. If this is clicked already, if I then go to logs, you can see that it has not succeeded. It is still running. It is still running. Take note. Remember I told you that it's a big data set. I think it's about 2.6 gigabytes. We'll find out shortly. Okay, so I will let this to run. However, guys, if you are new on this channel and you have not subscribed, please go ahead to subscribe to our channel right now, because we still have more things for you guys. Very soon we'll begin to explore Azure cloud, you know, doing all these projects on Azure cloud. We're going to also start that very soon. Okay, and also this particular project that we are working on right now, I would also like in another video to do this exact same project, but then using, you know, basically using the exact same data set, but using EMR, AWS EMR, Elastic MapReduce. Like I told that this is a huge data set. Okay, and we have been able, and we configured extra large EC2 instance, right? But I want to try us using EMR so that we can run some PySpark, you know, on these, and then use Airflow to automate the process. I think that's going to be an interesting project for us to do next time. Okay, watch out for that, guys. Okay, in the next few videos I'm going to be doing that. All right, guys. Now, all right, guys, you guys can now see that this has run successfully. Let us put our cursor on this and let us see those information. You can see that the duration for this is 4 minutes 56 seconds. That's basically 5 minutes. Let us take a look at the second one. That's about 2 minutes right there. 1 minute 59 seconds. That's 2 minutes. And this last one, you can see right there, guys, this is 26 seconds. You can see that this ran successfully. Okay, if you come to this transform step, come to logs, click that and come to logs, you can see that, remember that in our code we printed the number of rows and number of columns. You can see that the number of rows right here, can I make this bigger? Let's see. Okay, very good, very good. You can see that the number of rows here is 3.9 million rows, right? And the number of columns here after the transformation, like we did, is 28 columns. Number of columns 28, number of rows 3.9. You can see that right there, guys. You can see that. Okay, let me put it back the way it was. Okay, I think we are there. Okay, now you can see that right now. Okay, now let us go to our S3 bucket and see what we have. So let's come to our bucket. Let's come to the raw. If we click that, refresh, you can see the data, guys. You can see 2.6 gigabytes. That's the raw data. You know, if you like, you can play around with the convention of how you want to name your file. That's fine. You know, then if you come to the transformation, you can see we have the data also. You can see now, because we already removed, because we already transformed it, we removed some columns and we removed NA. You can see now we have 867 megabytes right here. Very good, guys. I hope now you guys understand what we have done right now. So if we go back to our architecture, you can see that we have been able to use Python, right, to extract our data, right, from Redfin source, and then we have shown that we can load the raw data inside S3 bucket. We also showed that we can transform this data and then eventually load it inside this bucket. Okay, I hope you guys understand this right now. And then as I showed, you can see that the file is very big. So I'm hoping that in the next other video or so that I'm going to be making, instead of us provisioning a T2 extra large EC2 instance, what about if we have this project using Amazon EMR, Elastic MapReduce, so that we can provision some clusters of EC2s and then use PySpark to execute this job, and then we use Airflow to automate the process. Okay, I think that will also be a good project. We are going to be having the same data source, but instead of just using Python just to extract the data and doing the transformation, this time around we are going to be in that video we are going to be using PySpark. Okay, and then we are going to be using leveraging AWS Elastic MapReduce EMR clusters. Okay, very good, guys. Now you guys can see that we have been able to execute this part of the project. Okay, now the next thing that we would like to do in another video, in the part 2 of this video, is going to be this part right here. We are going to be exploiting this part right here. Let me show you that we're going to be exploiting this part right here in the part 2 of this project. Okay, in which case we are going to be using Snowflake and Snowpipe and then connecting PowerBi to our Snowflake. Okay, so again, guys, if you have not subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to go and subscribe right now and click on that bell so that you can be notified whenever we release any of our videos. Okay, and do not forget to put your comment right there in the comment section. If you have any question, also go ahead and type in your question. Okay, and also if you have any sort of thing you want us to teach you, you want us to make a video about, please go ahead and put that also in the comment section. Okay, and also do not forget to like this video. As you know that as you like this video, it's going to help the YouTube algorithm to be able to put us higher also in the YouTube search. Okay, and also do not forget to share this with your friends, with your colleagues, with your family, and your teammates. Okay, let them also benefit from this thing that you are learning. Okay, all right, guys, in the next video we are going to be connecting our Snowpipe and Snowflake to this pipeline that we just created. Remember what I said, that when the data lands inside the S3 bucket, we want to be able to trigger Snowpipe so that Snowpipe can execute a copy command so that it can move the data from this bucket into Snowflake. Okay, we are going to be doing that in the next video. Stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.